Sorry ass DJ.
I never mentioned it.
Here's a question from Sparky. Do you think Brad would have killed him? You already answered that question.
Yeah, I know. His
Can you help give insight as to whether the killer was trying to make it look Odinistic, quote unquote, and if so, whether he thinks the killer was legit practitioner or just trying to throw off law enforcement?
in my opinion, if this person was under the impression that this is something that needed to be done in the name of asetru to the gods or the goddesses, that person would have put a hell of a lot more thought and energy into what was done. There was nothing about, from the little diagrams that you would have about how the girls were laying on the ground, the sticks around them. There wasn't a taste in my mouth that was asetru in general. Now, if it was some kind of Celtic, Druid, Wiccan, there's nothing about that. It's just like, wow, asetru. Pagan
What
in a
about this
sense,
F?
maybe.
The F-looking shape kind of looks like a rune, a little bit, I guess, kind of.
No, that F could look like one of the either Anzus or Feiwu,
Yeah.
because one of those is an F going up, the other's an F going down, or that could just be the letter F of the English alphabet. That doesn't make it a rune just because it looks like an F. That just could be an English F. I mean, or it could be a handprint.
And these don't look like runes to you?
No, absolutely not in any way, shape, or form. I don't see runic anything. Upside down, the one you have in the middle, the F thing in the middle, if you turned one of the F runes upside down and it was merged off or inverted, whatever you want to call it, yeah, you see, so it'd still be backwards and upside down, and that'd be the only thing in that configuration, man, that strikes me as runic in any way.
Let's see. How does your club view interracial relationships?
The Vinlanders, nobody in the Vinlander had any interracial ordeals. Just like a lot of other people in standard society, because somebody doesn't agree with it doesn't mean anything bad about them as a character or person. There's tons of different kind of bears, but you don't see polar bears going out and being in relationships and breeding with black bears. You don't see red flying. You wouldn't be any kind of a probate or patch holder if that was the case. There was plenty of supporters that had mixed kids and other kids like that, but it's not as a patch holder, no.
Could you be a black person?
No. It was Europeans, man. That was it. There's plenty of all black clubs out there. There's plenty of groups that are all Mexican, Spanish clubs. This was one for the Europeans.
What were the circumstances of your discharge? This is a U.S. Marine Corps person.
Medical retirement. I got a full medical retirement. They determined it was time to send me back to Fort Knox Hospital in Kentucky, and I spent a couple months there, and they put me through a full-fledged medical retirement, forced me into it. There's nothing I could do or say about it. I begged to stay in. I even told them I'd switch MOSs. I go be supply and pass out socks. I go be admin, file paper. I didn't give a shit what it was. I go be a cook. I don't care. I just wanted to stay in, and they wasn't going to have it. When they're done with you, they're done with you. Not a handshake, not a coffee mug, not a hi, bye, kiss my ass or nothing. It's just a piece of paper shows up in your mailbox and says you're done.
That's it.
Sorry, folks, I can't help you on that one. Right after that ordeal happened in May of 2019 in Delphi, I moved out of Delphi in September, and I took myself an hour, a little bit more than an hour away, and I have not went back there since I did my couple and a half month sentence in the county jail. I haven't went back there since. I have not went back to that county, talked to anybody in that town. Steering clear of Delphi.
They say, who told you to pull the patch? Was it the leader? And that they're talking about Johnny Messer, right? Or am I missing something?
Pulling Johnny Messer's patch. It was the person that was probating me. Person that put the probate patch on me is the one that said this needed to be done. And I said, no worries, fam, I got you. And I went and did it.
And it sounds like they're trying to connect this Elvis person, Elvis Fields, to you through Johnny Messer.
That'd be the only way they could do it. There ain't no one else in this state that had any interaction with that guy besides Johnny Messer.
They're both from Rushville.
Patch holder that put the probate on me, I can probably guarantee you that cat's never met or heard of this person. And I never did either. He never came to any of our get-togethers in Indianapolis when we would have them. This guy was a nobody to the club. Only Johnny Messer. Yeah. I was a probate before I was a made man in the club. That's how you start out. That's how it goes. You hang around for a long time and you probate for a long time.
Here's a good question. I don't know if I have the photo, but I did see Brad Holder wearing a Vinlander shirt.
Yeah, a support shirt. I want to be Vinlander or / Odinist. I don't know what the slash is about. Vinlanders and Odinists.
Where'd you see that at? Down at the bottom.
So the Vinlanders is actually, it's within the name that it goes with Odinism. See, Vinland was the Old Norse wineland and is the name given to the lands explored and briefly settled by Norse Vikings in North America. And so now you see within the name Vinlanders, it links both Vikings, heathenry, whatever you want to call it, asetru, Wotenism. There's a bunch of different names, but essentially it's all the same.
Brad Holder was only ever a supporter. He's never a Vinlander. He was never a probate. He only was associated with the club because he knew me, and that man would latch on to shit real easy. Said Brad started messing with asetru because he would see me talking to the gods before we go outside the base in Afghanistan to do a mission or something, and that's what turned him onto it. Big time follower, I guess that's the word I want to use.
Okay. Yeah, because I think he's a Freemason too, right? So he's kind of like gets into these groups, tries to get into as many groups as he can.
Yeah, he changes his image a lot, his appearance a lot, his actions a lot, what he's concerned about at the time. Like, that man is just constantly changing. He's a chameleon, absolutely.
Did you ever suspect him of having any involvement in the crime? Did you ever think like, oh, well, maybe Brad Holder might, you know?
Of all his faults and his timidness and his inability to just be himself anywhere he's at, it never really dawned on me that this dude was some psycho / killer of little kids. I mean, honestly, that thought never came through my head, and it's really still not something that goes through there now. I mean, weird son of a bitch, don't get me wrong. Weird dude, lies a lot, untrustworthy. But as far as being some psycho / killer, that man ain't got enough heart. As far as being some psycho / killer, that man ain't got enough heart. You know, he didn't have much else going on. He did live with his parents, was going through a divorce. Wasn't a big social bug. He, you know, when he would first go up and meet people, it was awkward. It was almost painful to watch, you know, breaking the ice and the way he would conduct himself and carry himself. And so he lived vicariously through me on a lot of stuff. At that point in time back then, I had a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 10-ish, and an 8 or 9-year-old. So I had kids right in that same age bracket, all the way across, 4 of them. So boy was dating one of the girls, but I don't think they'd ever even met in person. From what I understood, it was just all online interaction. From what I understood, but I can't remember at this point where I even heard it.
Richard Allen, I'm not Richard Allen. Rick Snay from Delphi After Dark. He went on live earlier. I'm not sure if it was like yesterday or maybe today, maybe the day before. And he had a picture of Logan Holder, which is the son of Brad, and Abby Williams together in a picture. So they did meet together. They did have some sort of physical interaction with each other. It wasn't just over the phone or the internet. What do you think about that, Blue?
Yeah, like I said, they're trying to separate themselves as far as they can.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and that was
How
my
much
question.
validity you had?
I actually have, that's the only question I've written down is here. What did you know about Abby and Logan's relationship?
All online, teenage, small social skill type stuff. A lot of these kids can't talk. You can be best friends online. I've watched my kids do it. They talk with somebody through text, and they're within 5 feet of them, and just they can't interact. They can't socialize. They can't do any of that stuff anymore. It's almost sad to watch, but I think it was all online, talking and chatting.
Yeah, because Brad Holder would come visit you in Delphi. I wondered if maybe that's when Logan Holder, his son, was meeting up with Abby and Liddy or something like that.
No, Logan would never venture away from my house and go anywhere. He stayed around with my boys in the backyard, or they would walk across the street to Canal Park, or the other way across the street to the canal itself. So he never ventured off into town and wandered by himself.
And what do you have to say, people like me, when you were talking about leather pouches, and we freak out because we've been looking at the Delphi bridge guy for so long. So you are talking about cutting runes, but wouldn't those runes go into a leather pouch? But then again, is this a leather pouch on the bridge guy? I guess that's the question.
There was a comment made about fanny packs on a video that you did with your buddy Frank day and a half after our phone call that we had.
Mm-hmm.
I never said a thing about fanny packs when I was talking about these leather bags. I'm not sure how it got into a fanny pack situation that he had mentioned, but these little bags didn't have like little drawstrings. You could hook them to your belt, carry your stuff around. It was just a little drawstring pouch that you would, set in a dark place to do with your runes until you get them out and use them. And, you use them in low light areas, not super bright environments. It's just part of the whole rune thing. But no, we never made carrying pouches. And I've never been able to tell much about that picture of the bridge guy, what he has on him. I mean, jeans, jacket, and hat. It's hard to tell. He could have another hat tucked into his belt hanging down his pant leg for all I can tell. And that it could be a sock hat hanging out of his belt or something, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, to me, it
I'm
looks
not
like
sure that's a merce or a fanny pack or what it is.
But that's why people freak out when you said, you can't say leather pouch around me.
Yeah, like it's the same thing. Like if I said I had 5 toes on my right foot, they'd be like, "Oh, the Delphi bridge guy probably had 5 toes on his right foot."
Put that out there. Something I picked up or caught on that.
Yeah,
I don't know. He kind of walks funny. Maybe he's not. If you told me you had 4, if you told me you had 4 toes, then I might.
He could be one of those 6-toe guys. I knew a few people that had that extra little weird thing stuck off the side of their foot, the 6-toe start. He could.
Okay, so this isn't a pouch full of runes that were cut by you.
No.
Yeah, that looks like a holster or maybe a big
Nope.
knife.
He did. He stole it from a kid, and because that's the only people that did him in my house was the children. All the adults had stone runes and stone engraved runes at that point because, we already had our first sets. My little rune set that we had.
A big thank you to My Little Rune Set for sponsoring this video. If you want to get yours, just go to mylittleruneset.com. Thanks again, My Little Rune Set. Now back to the video.
At the start of all of our adventure, and now we were up to having like Antheus stone with runes carved into them or things like that.